Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. I've got some more tip-top level, pro-level ladder action coming away this afternoon, chaps, following on nicely from yesterday's game. And those of you who are quick off the mark will notice that we have one of yesterday's players featuring today. His name is right in front of you, staring at you in the face, scrolling in front of you in black test. Can you guess who it is yet? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, enough of that. It's all going to go down on Crosfire Canal, so hold on to your potatoes as we go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Love me some pizza, baby. That's right. Let's take a look at our players. Going first down here at the bottom left in the blue corner, it is none other than the one and only, the quintessential Voodoo, experimenting with Gyle, but we all know secretly he goes random anyway. And he is going first land, second air. Can we tempt you with a third, sir? Yes, we can. It's first land, double air to start with. Nice opening for a map this size. And his opponent up here at the top right in the red corner, he may have lost the RA, but not that Russian personable, amiable personality. It's none other than ZLO. He's opening first land, second air. Can we tempt you for a third, sir? Not yet, but anyway, he did a phenomenal job yesterday on Waters of Isis against Luzon. If you haven't seen that already, go check that out. And he's going to go third air as well, so both guys here going land and then double air right off the back. And also I've had a few queries on yesterday's game. Could I link ZLO's channel, because he casts a lot of the games that he features in from his point of view, and this I believe is no exception. I believe he's actually casted this. This one took place at the end of last week and features on his channel. If I haven't already done so, there should be, if I haven't already forgotten to do so, I should say, there should be a link below this video in the description. If I haven't done that, just do your thing, guys, and yell at me and be abusive, generally nasty in every way, shape, or form that you can be, and I will throw that link in there, because it has to be said, ZLO is a very prolific caster, and although I try not to double cast or double up on casts that other casters do, it's not quite the same thing, since ZLOs are usually point of view. So it'd be nice to get a different perspective, be able to see what Voodoo's doing at the same time. But if you want to see it from ZLO's perspective, just check out his channel. First couple of inties off the bat for both of these players. Scout plane getting shot down there early on by ZLO, and it looks like Voodoo's also about to lose an interceptor here. Nicely done. There it goes. Another one inbound, but a third on the way for ZLO as well. Meanwhile, ZLO's scout plane unmolested, just around. And look at this concentric kind of semicircle going on around here from Voodoo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 land factories queued up for Voodoo around the central hub on his main slice there. I think that represents a likelihood of solid Aurora spam. That's the only thing I can think that he's going with. That it's going to send outrageous amounts of T1 tanks across the map. Of course, that early Aurora spam should present him with a decent advantage versus ZLO. But ultimately, that T2 Navy, if it gets into T2 Navy side of things, that little advantage may well find itself nullified early on. We've already got a couple of engineers up here from ZLO making landing up on the beach. One factory in play, another on the way, and another engineer down here as well for ZLO. One factory on the way and another queued up. Two naval factories on the way as well, queued up there. So ZLO looking to get involved in the naval race as soon as possible, wanting to use his advantage there and use it early. Interceptors out in a great number for Voodoo, as well as a bomber on the way that's looking to kill expanding engineers, but ZLO's inties have surely uncovered it. Is it going to get the bomb away? Yes, it does, but ZLO, with some very nice engineer micro there, manages to keep it alive. And now we get a pretty significant interceptor battle ensuing over the top of this slice. One Sky Slammer coming in to the mix as well. These two early factories up here at the top right paying dividends for ZLO, hoping to deal with the interceptor advantage in the sky that Voodoo currently has, although that may well be shifting. few more hovering around here, and also a bomber out from ZLO that's hunting for any potential engineers. You may think, why is he sending it out here? Well, he wants to make sure of this slice at the moment. He's circling for any proxy bases that might be being thrown together up here, but it's going to make himself useful and go for that Aurora. Picks it up. Nice job indeed. Still continuous battles going on, but look at the rate of expansion now from ZLO. He's airlifted engineers down here, more factories on the way. This is good, solid expansion from our Russian here. And we do have 1 or 2 units coming across from Voodoo as well. You can really see what I was talking about, that spam on the way now. One rally point up here, another deep into territory up here, and another out there. He really is just going to try and get as many Auroras on the field as possible. The odd Spirit coming out with them as well for extra intel coverage. But now it seems that it's ZLO with the advantage in the air. Not just advantage, a significant advantage. Let's take a look at the interceptor numbers on the field. ZLO currently running at 16-2 out of fuel though for the moment, and Voodoo at 13. So it's not a massive advantage, but certainly Voodoo's aren't centralized to one another, at least for the moment. Voodoo, I feel, needs to get more engineers onto these slices though and start setting up some bases. He's looking like he's setting up shop nicely on this one over in the west, but definitely needs to get some land factories in play over here in the southeast. Now that ZLO's already got those factories in play, is Voodoo already aware of that though? No, he isn't. So until one of his inties or scout planes flies over that, he's probably going to be blissfully unaware. You can see he has queued up 4 land factories for that slice, but for the moment he could find himself falling behind. Let's take a look at economy. Voodoo expanding with more gusto in the economy race. 47-33 in favor of Voodoo. Reclaim wise, 5,100 banks so far for Voodoo and 5,400 banks so far for ZLO. Not a massive advantage, but still an advantage nonetheless, going some way to mitigate that mass deficit he finds himself at in terms of generated mass. Let's bump this up to +1, and the amount of Auroras on the field now for Voodoo is crazy, approaching the 50 mark. But they're very spread out, so not a lot of killing power in these armies at the moment for Voodoo. Another engineer being dropped over here in the far northwest. That looks like it's probably more likely than not a reclaim mission engineer. And we're not seeing any branching out into the naval game for Voodoo. ZLO happily set up already with tridents on the way. I believe that is a trident. Yes, it is. Voodoo will now be aware of that if he wasn't already, as bombers pass over the top. Want to try and get a firing solution on that engineer, not able to do it. And another naval factory going up at the bottom right as well. ZLO really spreading out on this map. Voodoo spreading out as well, but not spreading out with any build capacity. It's all Aurora and Spirits. Voodoo now well concerned by this little proxy base that's been set up down here in the southeast, but a nice bombing run there from Voodoo, catching a couple of units of build capacity clumped together. But static tracer there at the back, finishing those off, preventing them from getting another pass in. Voodoo still ahead in the mass game, 56-33. As well as the Auroras are doing at covering the map, it's not actually going to help Voodoo ultimately to secure any of these slices, I don't think. It's fantastic from a eco-denying point of view, which I'm sure is probably Voodoo's strategy. You get enough Auroras coming out across the main lines, killing mass points as they go. Gets very difficult for your opponent to continually assign engineers to rebuild the mexes. Find himself at a disadvantage eco-wise, but he also, Voodoo also needs to think about securing some of this territory. He's got to think that this is a major issue, first and foremost, something he has to deal with. He is throwing together more land factories down here. Unit of PD going up for some protection, but there are Mantis inbound. There's also a group of Mantis inbound over here. This must have been a drop. No Cybran land factories on this landmass, but look at the amount of naval factories that have been thrown together by Voodoo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 naval yards in play against the 4 from ZLO. We've got 2 here next to his main slice, 1 up here at the top and 1 down here at the southeast. But there really is no kind of territory cohesion. It's, I suppose if you look at it, it's kind of broadening up here, cuts off on here, but there's units behind enemy lines all over the place. Neither party gaining any significant control in the air, and we've got access to T2 air already from Voodoo at the 14-minute mark. 3 Spectres on the field. That's probably not a bad choice of weapon to use to finish off this little area down here. The Tracer's something to worry about, and of course the Sky Slammers that will inevitably be switched to. Bring in an army of Auroras at the same time, maybe with some fervors in there. Should be able to batter them down. We've got access to T2 ground as well. Blazes rolling out for Voodoo. So Voodoo branching into T2 land and air. Not currently sea as yet. That would probably be a bridge too far, eco-wise speaking. ZLO bringing in his interceptors, no doubt judging threat from the Spectres. We have got the odd Swiftwind on the field. We will have an advantage, but ZLO, heavy in number, is going to emerge victorious and then go after the few straggling Spectres. That's good coverage from ZLO, recognizing the mismatch over here. Needs to get that Air Force over here, though. Spectres wailing wave, taken out the PD, has taken out the Tracer. Is now working diligently on battering down some of these units. In come the interceptors now to effect that fire mission. A large number of Tridents from ZLO hanging around Voodoo's main slice. Voodoo coming in with a mix of Silts and beacons. Should be able to deal with those frigates without any major difficulties. Now we do have a land factory set up from ZLO, and holy bananas, Batman, that is a lot of queued up land factories. ZLO looking to assault this western slice with great prejudice. Whether or not he's allowed to complete that build remains to be seen, but certainly this one down here at the bottom right has been thwarted. ZLO has cancelled all of the build plans except for this one in this factory here. Nice work from Voodoo. Now needs to just re-establish work on the eco, but in terms of eco, he's found himself behind. ZLO has got his economy up and running on that eastern slice. 1 or 2 mechs is still missing on the northwestern, northeastern. He's upgrading well. T2 on the way in the core, a couple of T2 at the back. And Voodoo finds himself behind 62 to 53. 21,000 mass, 21,500 mass banked so far for ZLO in reclaim. versus the 15,000 for Voodoo. So ZLO really rolling on the reclaim side of things. Large air battle still going on. Voodoo with the tech advantage, but not enough units to be able to contend with that interceptor spam coming out from ZLO. He has, however, managed to thwart that base build going on the western slice. Just 2 factories remain. Another naval yard has popped up in the northwest for ZLO, who's just completely unconcerned about consolidation of naval forces. He's happy to build naval facilities wherever and just pour them in. And the spam still continuing. Or a spam from Voodoo. Didn't quite finish all of the land factories that were planned for around here. This is T2 HQ. We're starting to see some ascendants popping out now as well, so Voodoo clearly concerned by this air advantage that ZLO has got. Certainly is quite an advantage. One single solitary trident finds himself right at the mouth of the river here, working on Voodoo's naval facilities. Another one coming to assist. Voodoo needs to get re-established on these mexes, and quickly. The amount of bombers, though, out for ZLO, who's recognized how dominant he is in the air and how thin Voodoo currently is on ground-to-air weaponry. Taking advantage by going mass T1 bomber and just picking off these extra mexes. It's only 2 mass a time, but it all adds up. But Voodoo has done some nice work on the naval side of things. Yes, there were a couple of rogue tridents kicking around down here, but 2 main base naval facilities have been destroyed. ZLO is aiming to rebuild them. Needs to be careful because there's a couple of Auroras on the way. Doesn't want to lose the build capacity that's been assigned that mission. Voodoo now looking to take out the other fringe naval facilities. You really cannot overestimate how important and fundamental naval control can be on a map like this in the mid to late game. Doesn't matter how badly you're doing everywhere else, if you have naval control and start filling up these rivers with cruisers, you're going to cause problems for, of course, all of the units and structures on the slices, but you're going to completely shut down your opponent's air game at the same time. But look at this incursion from ZLO. Dragonflies coming in now, airdropping loads of Mantis onto the ground, and units of build capacity getting caught up in the fray here for Voodoo. Doesn't want to lose those, needs to keep the reclaim up at all costs. Look, another transport coming in for ZLO. He's going to lose it this time, but the Mantis at least are on the ground. This is nice, aggressive play from ZLO, who's also got a merry band of tridents in around behind Voodoo's naval facilities. 2 of the forward ones have been taken out. We do, however, have T2 Navy on the way for Voodoo. Aurora is brought in to help finish off those tridents. The northern naval yard for ZLO has been destroyed. A whole bunch of build capacity coming out to try and secure the mouth of the river, but that's not going to work. Too many sylphs and beacons in play. Kill off all the build capacity before they can get any of those torpedo launchers online. And look at this ferry mission going on, airlifting yet more Mantis onto the western slice, making life more and more difficult for Voodoo. Voodoo amassing a large number of Auroras and Blazes on the tip of the eastern slice. There are some wall sections in play that are going to impede his progress, but of course, floaty, floaty, naughty, naughty, they can just reassign a new target and maybe go on to assault ZLO's main base. That's certainly an option here. ZLO needs to be mindful about that. However, he has got time. And look how hard ZLO is pressing the air game. What are we looking at here? 10 air factories in the base and 1 T2 air factory. Any more anywhere else? Certainly that's enough to be getting on with. So it's vitally important for ZLO that Voodoo doesn't gain persistent naval advantage and start littering cruisers everywhere, because ZLO's taking quite a large gamble into the air game. If it doesn't pay off, his advantage, which he's worked so hard for, could start to disappear. 92 to 65 at the moment in mass in favor of ZLO, and that jumps to 102 just as I say it. And those naval facilities, having only just been rebuilt, are dispatched once again. Renegades coming in to try and kill off some of these land units that are now approaching ZLO's main base. However, there are some ascendants in the pack now. ZLO busy and hurriedly building autoguns to secure his flanks. Voodoo trying to find an avenue in for attack. Another one or two going up here, up at the back. Needs to protect these P-gens that are queued up at all costs. Still 2 naval yards online for ZLO, and ZLO has more or less destroyed all of the economy on this western slice. There's still 3 land factories he needs to be concerned with, and also a whole host of land units coming across from the main base. Voodoo now working on cruisers, something he needs to be concerned about. Ascendants now beginning to patrol this river. They miss out on a kill there on that Dragonfly. It's bringing in 4 engineers. This could be the start of a new base build for ZLO. Voodoo needs to be careful. Doesn't want to lose control of that western slice and have ZLO set up on the doorstep of his main base. That would not be ideal. It does appear ZLO seems to have secured the top of his main base from this attack. But still not quite able to finish them off. He will prevent them from coming into the main base, but he's expending a large amount of resources trying to deal with them with gunships when there are ascendants present. Those of you newbies out there wonder why flak is so potent. It's the AoE damage that they do. Makes them phenomenally good against low-tech aircraft like interceptors and, of course, hovering units like gunships. Definitely the way to go. But ZLO has eased off slightly on his reinforcements. There are more coming in, but that might be a little bit too late. Voodoo has breached up around the sides. I don't know if he knows it, but he definitely wants to dispatch a few units onto this central hillock. He'll see the engineer there. He has to be aware that ZLO is going to be wanting to erect a new base to assert control over that slice. And he's actually bypassing it altogether. He looks like he's going on the counterattack here against the northwestern slice. A look at what's going on in Voodoo's base here, what's on the way. 26 minutes gone in this one so far. More Airdrops coming in from ZLO, this time on the southwestern slice. And a cheeky little factory set up here right down at the bottom. How's Voodoo's intel? No radar coverage really down here at all, so that could go undiscovered for some time if Voodoo's not careful. Take a look at how we're actually doing on the interceptor game. 110 fueled interceptors for ZLO on the map at the moment. ZLO brings out his ACU to finish off those units of flak. Caused him so many headaches for the last couple of minutes. And this is what I'm talking about. Cruisers being parked up these rivers, cutting down the flow of movement. 2 more dead naval yards, but the T2 is still in operation. That's the important thing for Voodoo. You could potentially have Control K those. You could be in the process of recycling, but Voodoo moving in finally to the central plateau on the western slice, but he might have left it a little bit too late. He hasn't got any furthers in the mix here, and ZLO already has 3 auto guns in place, so that little band of Aurora's not going to be sufficient to finish ZLO off. And once again, Voodoo finds Mantis encroaching on his land factories down here at the bottom left. He might have regretted not establishing any defensive structures around this area. The units of PD. We have skimmers out for Voodoo. Aeon torpedo bombers working on what naval forces remain of ZLO, but he's set up shop in a big way down here at the bottom right. 5 naval yards in play. One more was started, but that's slowly decaying. Looks like its engineer was killed off prematurely. And that little band of Auroras we saw earlier continuing to press, and now these 4 land factories under pressure, and potentially also this naval yard up here at the top. More air factories on the way, and we're starting to see some T3 power emerging now from ZLO, who is so far ahead on eco. It's a wonder he's not running away with this one. And we do indeed have T3 air now in play at Air Factory at T3, and spitting out spy planes and revenants as well. The Cyber and Strat bomber. And that could cause major headaches, but thankfully for Voodoo, he's matched the pace. Has got a couple of ASFs on the field. There is that Revenant going. What's he looking for? So he's got a waypoint there, but then he's got an attack order right up here. Certainly Voodoo needs to be careful, doesn't want to lose these T2 P-gens. He's going to need that power if he's going to compete with ZLO in this air game. Scout planes hanging around for Voodoo, and actually a shocker out for Voodoo as well. Away goes the bomb right in the center, and one bomb taking out 3 T2 P-gens. He's going to lose that Revenant, but he won't care. That is a harsh blow. Voodoo now bottlenecked badly on power, minus 3,000 net. How is that shocker doing from Voodoo? Currently circling, looking for an attack order. Stunning work there from ZLO, crippling his opponent, who's now producing not only insufficient power, but as a result, a woeful fraction of the mass that's coming into his coffers. He'll be very pleased with that. Voodoo's first bomb there, not quite so devastating. Turning around and looking for a solution. No, he's looking just to knock out the PD. I suppose he's got a large land engagement planned. And finally, the two air forces that have been building for some time clash once again. But unfortunately for Voodoo, it's over hostile territory. We've got a lot of Sky Slammers sitting on the peninsula here of the plateau. See the amount of anti-aircraft fire going after Voodoo's planes there. A lot of wreckage on this side of the map. That Shocker still alive. Still going after Static D. Voodoo with a lot of units on the map. He just needs to figure out a way to make it pay. It looks like he might have controlled his power spending a little bit. His mass has certainly come up slightly, but he is still facing a net shortfall of minus 250 or thereabouts. A few Mantis hanging about here, waiting to deal a blow if they can. Now Voodoo finally emerging onto this eastern slice. I just don't think he's got enough units to really make it pay, at least not at the moment. However, one bonus of this attack is he's once again killed off ZLO's naval production down here at the bottom right, and I think that is the last naval facility on the map currently for ZLO. He has no other naval factories anywhere else. Voodoo still sitting on just the one and still producing destroyers at the moment. You might want to think about depositing some cruisers about the place, but I mean, despite the overwhelming advantage that ZLO has had in the mass game, I mean, would you look at it now, Voodoo has completely leveled the playing field. I mean, it's actually quite astonishing, and a lot of it's being done with Aurora spam, floating from slice to slice, picking off mexes. Build capacity getting caught up here at the top for Voodoo by some Medusas. Come out of these three land factories down here. But if Voodoo can assert his authority on this slice, he has a chance to get ahead here for the first time in a long while in this one. Next to the sorties by those Shockers, you can see all of the dead units of PD littered about the place, now allowing his land units to press. It's going to be another T2 mechs that's about to fall. Two more up here, one with associated mass and another one that's T1 up here. ZLO could really fall behind here quite a big way. What is the next phase that he's got planned for us? That next phase is a bug, and that is why he's fallen behind. All of his eco has gone into this. But what's interesting about that is he no longer really has air domination. I mean, he has got the ability to get back on top in the air game by the sheer amount of production capability that he's got here, but that is not going to be immediate by any way, shape or form. The amount of cruisers on the map slowly increasing, certainly not increasing as quickly as I would like for Voodoo. Let's take a look at the reclaim side of things, how these guys have been doing. 56,000 banks so far for Voodoo, and 53 banks so far for ZLO. So Voodoo has edged ahead in what he's been bringing in off the field. But look at this, Whalers coming out now, and the amount of damage they do compared to their T2 comrades. Just overwhelming. Tearing apart that little blob of land units in no time at all. But ZLO finds himself way down on mass. 73 to 48 so far, but in comes the Soul Ripper. Bug complete. ASFs and the odd interceptor in tow. Voodoo dispatching what air he's got. He's actually got quite a lot of ASFs. He's going to go after ZLO's air coverage first of all, and then try and deal with the bug, or at least he's going after the interceptors and ASFs with his ASFs, and then bringing in the interceptors for the Soul Ripper. More planes coming in to defend for ZLO. Voodoo coming in with a bunch of out of fuel inties as well. And I suggest this probably doesn't look too great for Voodoo right now. He's not chewing through this Soul Ripper quickly enough. It's about 50% HP, but he hasn't got a lot of ASFs left. A few more coming in as we speak. Lots of build capacity shifted onto that T3 HQ. Soul Ripper down to below 50,000 hit points now. Of course, it's especially tough like this to plow everything into one experimental and deal a killing blow because everything is so spread out. Voodoo looking to finally dispatch this western slice from ZLO's control. There goes the autocannon, the hydro, and factory not far behind it. A couple of whalers brought in to finish it off. Where's that Soul Ripper gone? Still covered by ZLO's air units, but ZLO clearly concerned about his ability to protect it. He hasn't gone tearing into Voodoo. 114 kills on that bug so far. Still it survives. It's very close to going into the red. There it goes. And Voodoo, has he done enough? No, he hasn't. Rank of veterancy attained. Restores a huge chunk of HP. Voodoo's gonna want to kill this, kill it soon, and hopefully kill it in his own territory. Is that another rank of veterancy it's got? It might be 176 kills on that puppy so far. Now going after fringe mass points. Voodoo not going to chase. Unbelievably close. Soul Ripper not wanting to cross over here. Too many ascendants, and of course cruisers now sitting around the edge of Voodoo's main base. But look at the actual territory that ZLO's operating on. That is his base of operations. He's got the odd factory dotted about, but the sheer weight of unit pressure coming out from Voodoo has proved too much. Excellent spam from our resident Aeon player here. That bug still with 48,000 hit points on the tank and climbing. About to approach 49. What, if anything, has Voodoo got planned? I don't see anything new really on the horizon for him. I have to know where he's re-established his power, because he hasn't rebuilt all of those T2 P-gens. He is right on the breadline with power when he's running at full expenditure for his air units. And that Soul Ripper crossing over wants to finish off the last of these ground units on ZLO's main slice. Where are we actually at now in terms of veterancy? It's already at 5 stars, so it can't get any more chunks of HP back, but 30 hit points a second flying back onto that bad boy. Voodoo trying to pursue with his naval forces. Yet more power on the way for ZLO, and an upgrade as well. ZLO surely concerned about the way this is going. The only thing that's keeping him in this game now is this Soul Ripper. Voodoo at the moment unable seemingly to be able to finish it off. It's just the sheer amount of Aurora blobbage is the only term that we can really call this. It's just units everywhere. Another factory in jeopardy up top there for ZLO. That represents his last structure on that northwestern slice. I'm actually really surprised this went so badly for ZLO, who was so far ahead for so long. Voodoo just needs to knock out this factory, kill off these engineers, and then it's this half of the map entirely under his control. We can afford to bump this now to +1. The question is, what's ZLO doing? Usually when Cyberans get this far behind in a game, they start thinking of the dreaded telemaser. Surely Voodoo must be aware of that. Where is Voodoo's comm? Well, Voodoo's comm is underwater. There's not a great deal ZLO could do about it. He can teleport in and start destroying Voodoo's base. Let's see where he is on the progress of these upgrades. This is yeah, nothing so far. So he's still got the teleporter to go and the microwave laser. I mean, he could have also, of course, go for a nanite torpedo launcher, but nothing to stop Voodoo immediately strolling back out onto land. Voodoo going to fetch himself an upgrade in the meantime. Primarily concerned with ASFs. ZLO concerned about something. Voodoo having to back up with these units up here at the top. Soul Ripper going to be able to eat into those and then return, shoo them away. Voodoo not able to get involved yet. I feel like he needs a lot more on the field in terms of air coverage. He's at 43 ASFs. ZLO is sitting on 11. Soul Ripper looking a lot better and or a lot more healthy, and we're getting a bit of recycling going on there, I think, from ZLO, who's trying to complete these upgrades. I don't know if he's going to be able to. He's got the microwave laser, so he must have the teleporter on the way, but it's all a little bit academic because of course he's not going to be able to get the snipe, and all he's going to be doing is putting himself in harm's way. We also have shockers queuing up on Voodoo's main island. And Voodoo, of course, spotting the absolute obvious. He didn't even need to scout that. Would have been able to assume that that's on the way. ZLO has been completely cornered. Strats making their way up the western half of the map. Can bring this down to normal speed. There's the waypoint. One of them has been ordered back. ASFs brought in potentially to screen. You can see the strategic distribution of cruisers dotted around the coastline from Voodoo. That's nice work. He's going to have a lot of safe havens to run to with his air force. In come Voodoo's ASFs, screening for the strat bombers that are converging from multiple locations. Not going after the bug as yet, but the shockers look like they're coming straight in after ZLO's comm, which has finished an upgrade. I don't know whether it completed or cancelled, but it's going to be too late. A nice strat bomber run to clinch things as we approached the 48th minute. Great, solid work from Voodoo in this one. I actually thought it was not going to go his way at all. It looked like it was all going to go according to plan for ZLO in the first, I suppose, 25 minutes, half an hour or so. But ZLO just couldn't contend, couldn't keep up with the amount of Aurora spam. So many different factories, so many different rally points, just sending continuous lines of Auroras through the mass fields. Let's take a look at what the final tally was on Reclaim. 90,000 banked there for Voodoo and 85,000 banked for ZLO, so not a great deal in it. But the story is really told by that final mass tally. 208 from Voodoo and 27 from ZLO. A overwhelmingly well-played game there from Voodoo. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. As always, more to come from me in the future. As I said, if I haven't placed the link to ZLO's channel so you can see this from the point of view in the description below this video, just yell at me and I'll get on with it. But anyway, in the meantime, as always, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.